Pressure cooker's heating up, boys. Meatballs are in the crock pot. Meatballs are in the crock pot. Come on. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? It is a Wednesday edition of the the Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you. Oh my goodness! Look, we got Sebastian the Crab from The Little Mermaid right in the middle. Mac Solo makes his return out in the middle of the woods. Mac, what the hell are you doing?
Hey, relaxing, sitting in a hot tub, smoking a cigar, enjoying life.
My goodness, he comes back from Alabama a changed man, and Kate is like sautéing him for something. So, welcome back, Mac. We've got Ty Bartell with us after another legendary call. Good game last night, Ty, from you again, the good game magnet. We got Quinn in the G. Berwick Farm Studios, and we've got the young warrior, the road warrior, starting tomorrow, Richie Giuliano, my broadcast partner this weekend for Youngstown State Baseball. Richie, welcome back to the show. How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm doing great, preparing for tomorrow, getting everything ready. Still haven't started packing, so I might have to start that here soon.
Literally right now, and she's probably going to text me here in a moment. Mrs. Yoakley is doing some laundry because I ran out of jeans. I got one last pair of jeans. I have them on right now.
Yep.
Otherwise, Richie, we're in some trouble down there. Thank goodness it's audio only, I guess, is the best I can say. All right. So, Richie, before we get started with this show, before we get to the national day at hand, we have a bone to pick with you because Mac and I are in the top of the bleachers, and Mr. Broski comes up to us and says straight up, looks right at Billy and goes, "You don't look like Richie." And he goes, "You don't look like Richie to me." And I said, "No, obviously we're not Richie, But Billy took exception to it because he thought he was talking about his weight. But in all this discussion, Mr. Broski came out and said that you had red hair. Red hair. We didn't even bait him into it. We did not bait him into it.
We did not.
So I swear to God, if there was a Bible here, I would put my hand on it. He came up and said, oh, I just remember him. He was the smallest kid on the team all the time. Because we told, what are you, 6 foot right now, right?
I'm like 5'8".
Okay, well, to me, you're 6 foot because I'm 5'4". So I told him you were 6 foot tall, and he goes, does he still have red hair? And I immediately just snapped my neck towards Billy. And I was like, this couldn't be any more perfect right now. So just so you know, Mr. Broski's probably going to be in Louisiana looking for you. You're going to nail it down. And
you're going to have a little chat. Sit down right here real quick.
So we got it legit. You're part of the Ginger family. You and Billy have nailed it down. And the only reason I know for a fact that Billy is part of the Ginger family now, and we'll get to some of our travel stories here in a minute. Sunday, Billy and I had this whole plan. We're going to go out, live it up a little bit on Sunday. Billy gets so much sun on Sunday somehow under the bleachers that his entire face is like his head is red. Like he took a nap and he napped the entire time and was ready to go for the flight on Monday. But you guys are the G brothers, so I can appreciate you. It's right here. It's right here, and the world appreciates you guys. So I'm excited. My ginger broadcast partner. I know Kate's probably like, he's not a ginger. Don't do that to me. But excited for it. All right, boys, here we go. It is National Tortilla Chip Day. So my question to you becomes, when you're getting tortilla chips wherever you are at a Mexican restaurant, if you're just heating them up in your microwave with what? Is it chips and salsa? Is it chips and queso? Is it chips and something I haven't even heard of? Let's start with Billy Mack in the hot tub.
Man, I like chips, tortilla chips with 2 ways: buffalo chicken dip and salsa.
Nice.
Those are my two go-to. But it's the fine chopped up homemade Mexican restaurant version of it, not like
the Alabama version.
That wasn't even hot. It was like
it wasn't even good.
It was like a dessert. It was like sugar.
Couldn't figure out what that was. Could not figure out what that was. They gave us something that resembled salsa, but it was not salsa. I can tell you that.
Sweet tea in there, honey. You'll love this.
Little sweet tea. Give me a 9-ounce sirloin. No, I want steak. All right, Ty, chips and.
Well, for me, it's definitely a chip brand called Over the Border. Best tortilla chip in my mind. It was actually funny. I was having a discussion last night with my fiance just about this too, because I always get this huge ass bag of these chips, and she'll never understand why. And they're the best chips. They got the right amount of salt. For me, doesn't matter. I go queso, I'll go salsa, I'll go buffalo chicken dip. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever's available that a tortilla chip can be dunked in, I'm dunking in it. So it doesn't matter to me on the sauce or the dip.
We're going to get to the question real quick. Is the Fitch game live from Missy? We will not have it live. When we go on the road, we are at the mercy of ADs, and if they have their own thing. And according to Paul Munson, Ashtabula Lakeside has their own setup. So you're going to have to, I want to say it's on YouTube, or it'll be a stream somewhere else. So you're going to have to check out. Hopefully Jim Pank and the crew can kind of give you an insight on where that is. So we will not have the Fitch game live tonight here on YSN. Kate saying meat thermometer says he's not done yet. I don't know why I keep thinking of the Little Mermaid. Just wow, Max says JB. Does that surprise you at all?
He wishes.
He does wish, I'm sure.
He wishes.
How about Ty, your MVP last night, Matt Seidel. Huge thanks to DJ and Ty for letting me do the Reserve versus Milton game last night. Lots of fun, and it was a great game. Missy on the network. No, it will not be on the network tonight. Please show girls West Branch versus Marlington tonight, says Julie Schuster Showalter. I
think that's the same situation. Yeah, I think Marlington has their own.
They have a YouTube stream.
Yeah, YouTube stream. So I think that it's going to be a situation where it's going to be free to you. So good situation, bad situation. It's not with us, but it'll be somewhere on YouTube. So maybe that's something that Quinn might be worth checking out and seeing if there's a YouTube link that we can put out there for our friends at West Branch and in Fitch, if we can find it before the the show's over. So we'll try to get you hooked up. And if you're out there and you know where it's at, if you wouldn't mind putting it in the comments for everybody else, during the context of the show, we'd be grateful for it. So trying to make sure everybody gets lined up. Unfortunately, when we go into other buildings, it's not always a guarantee. We have to sign contracts for these, ahead of time. And sometimes they let us in. They love what we do. They've heard of us, or maybe they haven't. They just think that it's a great opportunity. Naturally, it costs us $125 to put these games on. So if there's another crew that's doing it, we're going to let them do it. Because we don't want to, really we don't want to pay the OHSAA double, because one is enough at $125. So that's kind of where you're at. Where do I go to find where it will be? Well, we're going to try to check into that for you. So give us a little bit. We'll try to get it on before the end of the show, and hopefully we'll be able to. We'll put Paige on it. Paige hasn't done anything in a while. So Paige, go find the West Branch link from Marlington and put it in the chat. And if you wouldn't mind trying to find the Austintown Fitch link as well. Yes, and you're looking at Sebastian up in the top middle. That is the alter ego of Billy Mack today.
I think Aaron just dropped in where you could find the Marlington game in. Yeah.
Marlington Athletics on YouTube for West Branch Marlington.
I'm pretty sure that's the right link too. I think I've seen that link before.
Yeah.
So
that's what I used to watch when Canfield played Marlington, like the second game of the year, and like I had to watch it on that. So
okay, so there's a couple different options for you tonight. So we're awesome enough to have some great people that watch our show on a daily basis.
I can't see the comments, so you have to explain.
I thought I was at the Storming Crab for a second, says Paige.
Ain't that something?
I like it, Billy. I think it's with the cigar, and I'm guessing that's not a Pepsi. I dig it. You're on vacation, man. You're allowed to do what you want.
I'm over the age of 21.
That's it.
By a little bit.
Quinn, let's get back to the topic at hand. National Tortilla Chip Day. You like tortilla chips and?
I mean, buffalo chicken dip, 100%. That's where I'm at. And then if not, I got to go queso second, and then salsa third. But I mean, when, you go to like the Chili's or wherever you might go, and they give you the free chips. I mean, I'm killing it anyway. So at that point, it doesn't even matter.
I'm gonna throw a little shout out to my wife, because I think she makes the best buffalo chicken dip in that crock pot. I think it's phenomenal. So. There's been a couple buffalo chicken references, and Sarah, I know you're out there listening. They're talking about yours. So I'm sure you're smiling right now and probably cooking up more buffalo chicken.
She makes great buffalo chicken.
Big fan.
We still have to have a cook-off though, but we'll get to that.
We can have a cook-off. I got no problems with a cook-off.
I'll be a taste tester.
We're shocked. Mark Roth, possible stream for Fitch Lakeside. There it is. So. Keep that in mind. It's in the. I'm just glad he has shorts on. Is that potatoes and carrots in that water?
He's just a meatball in a crock pot.
Best tortilla chips are those ones with a $2 price, real big on the bag, like the ones from like the off-brand stores.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Perfect saltiness. Oh yeah.
Listen, Coach Bertolini was going around saying, change your best a whole bunch. So this is exactly, I'm changing my best right as we speak.
You are changing your best. You're living your best. Richie, what is the best thing to have with chips?
Probably buffalo chicken dip. But, I'm a big fan when I go to, like, a baseball game, especially, like, an Indians game, get the loaded nachos. You got, like, the sour cream, put some meat on them there. You got queso, salsa. Well, really whatever you can think of, you could throw on there. So, I am a buffalo chicken dip person first. But if the option is there, I'm loading it up.
I learned quickly that having sloppy joes on chips is pretty legit. It's awesome. So I know everybody likes the type it in the chat, please, and thank you. It's in there, Missy. It's if you look under, I'll pull it up again. Here's Mark Roth, possible stream. If you just highlight that in the chat, copy it, paste it in your toolbar, your address bar, you should be good to go later on. So it's just YouTube 440 and goal, and you should be good to go with that. So. Kate saying, Billy thinks he can make better chocolate chip cookies than me. He hasn't actually tried to make any, though. Listen,
I
Billy,
know.
I'm just saying those chocolate chip cookies were probably the best I've ever had.
I know.
And she
They were
said she
probably
messed them up.
They were the best that you've ever had. You haven't had mine.
Well, I don't think anybody's had yours yet, so I think that's the point of it. Chips and Rotel. Like, is that the stuff in the can?
That's
Is that what we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, that's the cheese in the can. With like
So you put the cheese. No, the cheese is
with
different.
salsa.
Rotel's like the salsa, right?
it's like salsa and cheese. I thought
I don't think Rotel has the cheese in it.
it did.
It's just like the, what is it? The tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that, right? And then you put the cheese in it, and then that makes your cheese dip. I don't know. That was didn't do
Hot!
it. Hot. That was my favorite growing up. Was that cheese dip, and it was just random stuff thrown into cheese dip. My dad used to make it. It was amazing. Velveeta dip is what they called it. And if you ever counted Velveeta as your favorite cheese, you knew you were poor growing up. So let's get to some travel stories real quick. Billy, you're making your first appearance since YSU took one on Sunday. Talk to me about your favorite part of the travel journey down to Alabama.
Man, it's got to be as soon as we got there. Really, we get there, we drive to the hotel, and then we drive down and we come back to the hotel, and then we asked the lady, who it was a young woman. We asked her like, "Hey, where's Troy University at from here?" "Oh, I don't know. It's yonder." So we just got in the car and left, and then we went down to the stadium. Nobody's there. We thought Coach Berlin and the Penguins were out there, and they weren't there yet. So we come back to the hotel trying to figure out where's everybody at, and there's this guy, young guy, like I don't know, 19, 20 years old probably, with a girl, and they're just completely making out. And I'm walking up to the door, and I'm like, holy crap, this is like being a 17-year-old all over again. Well, this girl says, "Oh my God, he's looking." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." He goes, "I don't care." So I said, "Grab your ass." And he did. And that was, it was unbelievable. It was like another teen movie. It was incredible.
I'm in the car, and I'm waiting. And he comes back and he's like, "You're not going to believe this story." He's like, "You're not going to believe this story." He said that they were like full makeout mode, and she like whispers, "He's going to see us. He's going to see us." And he's like real like Jean-Claude Van Damme. "I don't care if he sees us." Like that, like you're outside of a hotel, and Billy's like, my first idea was ask him if they needed to get a room. Like they're at a hotel. "I don't care if they see us." And Billy says, "Well, grab her ass then." It was one of the top stories of the entire. We talked on Friday when we landed in Montgomery. We hit the runway and then went sideways. And Billy, I can't do the impression that Billy had, because like I'm sitting over here. I'm sitting like, this is the view that I had of Billy. We hit the runway, and I looked over at him, and he's like eyes as big as donuts, just like he is locked in, like scared to death. And he goes, "Bro, I don't think that's supposed to happen." I was like, "No." We were completely sideways, and Billy was all fired up about going on a jet. So
we almost died twice, though. We did almost die twice.
Oh, it's my driving, isn't it?
Don't tell me about it.
Richie, unfortunately, you're not old enough to do the rental car, so you get to handle my driving. He had me fired up.
Steve Leslie movement.
Oh, God.
We did. It was
Swerving,
deer. Except Billy dropped the hot on me. He just, we're going in, and the road ran out. Excuse me. The road runs out, and Billy just goes, "Hot!" I was like, "What the hell was that?" We're back on the road. And we were fine. It's just I was so fired up. I forget what. Oh, because we were going back and forth between Troy and the hotel. But
no, this was because of that. This was we just did a game, and you were still hot from
That's
Jeff.
what I remember
So
what it was.
you were just so focused on, I'm going to eat Jeff Bezos' soul today.
That's
going
what
to happen because we're going to have to turn around and drive a hour and change to go get something.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Now I remember. No, but now we drop a hot every time something bad happens. We just go hot. So it's very similar to Steve Leslie's deer. So where were we? We were
Going to a football game.
we were
Yeah,
at a
it was,
football game.
Where was that at?
Zanesville, right?
Zanesville.
Kennedy game,
Zanesville.
right?
No, it was
No, that was Zanesville.
Yeah, it was Zanesville that we
Yeah.
were all down there, and Steve, God love him, one of the best drivers I know, and like looked down at his phone and said deer. I look like he's fully immersed in his phone. I looked out, I was like, "There's a deer," and before I can get it out, he just goes, "Deer." Swerves just a little bit. He misses the deer. I was like, "This is the most magic moment I've ever had in a car." Steve is a superhero. So, all right. So that's enough for the stories. Richie and I'm sure we'll have plenty of stories. We head down to the bayou, and as I've been told, there's nothing good that can happen down there, Richie, other than the YSU Penguins pulling out a few wins against Nichols State and of course
I'm
LSU.
staying up north this weekend.
You're glad you're staying up north?
No, I said that's probably why it's a good idea that I stay up north.
Yeah, I don't think they wouldn't let you come back, Billy. Like some of the stuff that you do on a whim, they just wouldn't let you come back. You'd be like one of those. What are those dolls they have? The voodoo dolls.
The voodoo dolls, yeah.
Yeah, they'd make a voodoo doll of Billy and just start poking him. Like I can see that happening. Like he's the bad guy on the podcast here and on the broadcast. So it's gonna be interesting. Like if we sent Billy somewhere like Louisiana or the Bayou, like how many enemies would he make? He's a nice guy. Like Billy, you make friends very well, but like you don't take crap from anybody. I admire it.
No.
I admire it. Like the bartender a couple times, last story, I promise. The bartender a couple times was trying to just do her job. She's got 1 million people that she's trying to serve, and Billy just throws up the hand like pow, and he's like, "When you have a second, I'd like this, and also I need another mason jar of beer." Like you threw it, it was just like smooth, very smooth.
And thank you. And
thank you. There was a thank you. There was a thank you in there. All right, guys, we talked a little bit, of course, about travel stories, but reality is there was a lot of basketball on the network last night, a lot to watch. Ty, you probably had the best game out of all of us. Take us through your game and why it was so exciting.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I got color commentator, Coach Matthew Seidel, down there from Sebring as my color guy, so that was already starting me off on the right foot for a good night. But, I mean, second off, it's Jackson Mountain and Western Reserve. I mean, what else needs to be said when those two schools play each other, and let alone in a playoff scenario? I mean, right out of the gate, you see Western Reserve jump on a 13-0 run, and you think the Blue Jays are completely out of it, but those resilient Jackson Mountain Blue Jays, man, they find a way again, starting out down in that first quarter to come back and pull off a 3-point victory come the fourth quarter, and they've done that a few times this year. They've gone down real early in the first half, a lot, first quarter primarily, and find a way to come away with a victory. And it was on the backs of both Andrew Bouch Jr. for the Blue Jays as well as Cole Grote. Great duo there. They've been playing together since third grade. They have a great chemistry, center point guard combination. They know what each other's going to do on the court, and they just found a way to put up points. They started containing what Western Reserve did, started containing Bouch in that first half. I think he only ended with 4 points going into the second half, but finished, I believe, with 22, I want to say is what he finished with at the end of it. So they found a way to get him scoring. Great adjustments, great coaching adjustments at halftime. And, I mean, it's everything you could ask for in a first-round game. I mean, tough competitors. And, I mean, records kind of go out the window when the Blue Devils and Blue Jays end up playing.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you and Coach alluded to yesterday. I mean, these two teams don't necessarily love each other, but they love playing each other because it brings out the best in both teams. And obviously, Ty, you and Coach saw that last night in a dandy. I got a message from Steve Gilmartin later in the night when I was done with Salem, and he said, "You just killed it again, man. You just keep on
He's
getting it.
got
You're
some
the
kind of
magnet."
like you talk about voodoo. He's got some like magnet where every time he goes to a game, it's just yeah. If you're a fan, and Ty Bartell walks into your gym, you better get ready. Get popcorn because it's going to be a great game.
You see that red YSN jersey come in, you better just buckle up.
Red YSN jersey and black jeans, man. You're never going to see me walking with anything different. I'm not hard to miss. I stand out in the crowd. I'm taller than almost anyone there, so you'll find me.
It's funny though, because like Billy says all the time, and like Paul says, like you look at you on the broadcast, you look like you're my size, 5'4", and then all of a sudden you like rise up like Biff Tannen in Back to the Future. You're just like, it's like unbelievable. Speaking of Biff Tannen, like tell me this doesn't look like Biff Tannen from Back to the Future too. What did you say to me, McFly? Quinn, you had some interesting watches last night. I know you had practice. You guys took the first round bye, but you obviously had some interest in that Wellsville game.
Yeah, got to watch the Wellsville game. Green lit it up. I think he had 7 threes in the first half and maybe 31 points or something like that in the whole game or something like that. And I mean, Wellsville took care of Badger pretty well. And I mean, I know they're not YSN schools, but we had a little interest in the Matthews Southern game as well. And Matthews went down to Southern and upset the Indians. So
there you go. Was there any other ones that caught your eye, Quinn? Any other scores? The Latonia game you were pretty interested in.
Yeah, the Latonia game got me a little bit. I was a little surprised by that. And Mineral Ridge, they beat Columbiana by 16, I think it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Poe picked them to win district out of Latonia.
Latonia?
Yeah.
Shock the world, Poe. They lost. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, good for Latonia. They're I mean, from their standpoint, they had a pretty successful year given. What's that?
I think it was 3 COVID battles that they overcame this year.
Yeah, I mean, you think about that. Everybody's going to think we're poking fun at them, but no. I mean, it's just they've overcome this year, and you know we've got some good solid student athletes from Latonia. Which, by the way, I will tell you this: you can vote for one of your student athletes if you're a YSN school on ysnlive.com/bigdogs. I think is the link. We'll put it up here at the break. You know, voting is open now. It's open until midnight on the Sunday night, Quinn, right?
Yes.
The 28th.
28th.
So get your votes in early. Get them in often. We're going by, the votes. Naturally, we have a little bit of a stake in the game too, so there's not any conspiracies out there. We had somebody literally build a bot one time to get votes up to like 100,000. So we're gonna keep our eye on that to make sure it's all fair. But we will give the winner of the boys, the girls, and the boys and girls coaches next week right here on the Power Hour. So I'm excited to be able to debut that. And guys, make sure you get out and vote for your favorites, some of the players and coaches you've been covering all year, because your vote matters too. So all of that you can check out again, ysnlive.com/bigdogs, and check out your favorite. Billy, I mean, obviously you're on location. You were watching some YSN last night. Talk to me what you were watching and what kind of caught your attention.
Well, it's no secret that I covered LeBray, so that was naturally the one I wanted to watch the most of. And you talk about COVID, they've had some issues of their own, being shut down until after the first of the year and then cut off twice. And a lot of those guys were sick from COVID, so they're just coming back, and it looks like their legs just aren't the same. So, hopefully they can figure it out. And, just trying to keep up with the rest of the YS Nation, seeing Latonia go down. I wanted to see who LeBay was going to play in case I was going to be at the game doing the game. So I was interested in Crestview. They handled business last night. So a lot of good games just in general on the network last night. So if you get the $9.99, you just flip right through and just keep rolling. Just, hey, this is on a break, switch over to here. Hey, this is on a break, switch back. It's kind of like, you're watching college football on a Saturday and you're just flipping through channels every chance you get a little bit of a break. It's awesome.
I think my favorite thing about how it's set up now is that little panel that pops up on the right side, and you can just navigate so cleanly from one game to another. And I think they're actually alphabetical, if I'm not mistaken. So you
They
can
were
go
last night.
Yeah,
So.
you can just pop all the way down. So very good job. And let's give credit where credit's due. Brian Scott is the mastermind behind all of that on the back end of it. So great job, Brian, in making sure that things are clean and tidy. And I know we had a couple. Chris Sigler saying that's the best part. We were talking in my driveway last night, and he's like, "I love this. It's so nice." It's clean. That's the best way that I can describe it. It's like having your own remote control of where you want to go, and there's a lot of games to watch, and there's a lot of games to watch tonight too as well. Richie, did you catch any games last night? Were you interested in any of the games that kind of transpired?
Yeah, I did the Canfield Ravenna game last night. So Canfield took that pretty easily. Ravenna was pretty good, actually. I was expecting them to come out and play a good game, and they did. So Ravenna played all right. The only bad thing is for Canfield that Trey Dye did get hurt. He didn't end up playing in that second half. And, a lot of people who follow Canfield, they know how big Trey Dye is for this program. He's been the leader all year. He's up for a big dog of the year, so you could go vote for him as well. But Canfield overcame that injury. They came out. They had a couple guys step up. A senior leader and Martin Escobar, who came off the bench, hasn't played many minutes here in the second half of the season. He had almost 10 points. Ryan Petro had a career high. He had 13 points as well. So they had other contributions from guys who stepped up and really controlled the injury of Trey Dye, which was a good thing to see. And looking forward, I hope Trey's going to be able to play Friday, which is a big game against Ursuline. And O'Brien will have that call for you on YSN at 7.
Oh, look at Billy throwing up the U for you, for the Canfield boys on the bottom. Hey, Richie, you talked about Petro having a career high in a postseason game.
Yeah.
Talk about the excitement for that. I mean, if you're bringing out your best in the postseason, you talk about how much that means to you to kind of lift, especially with Trey Dye going down, to lift your team into that next round and stepping up. That's got to be a huge moment for Canfield as a whole, but Petro specifically.
Yeah, it was absolutely huge. I mean, Petro, who's played kind of that two-guard role the entire year, Trey Dye's controlled the point. He had to step up in that second half when he went down, and he controlled the point real well, had a couple assists. And, what really impressed me was he did not break under pressure. They tried to trap him and double team him that whole second half. They ran like a half-court press, and he was able to weave his way through the defense. And he made a couple nice shots that we haven't seen all season long. So I think Ryan Petro really shined last night, and it was a big effort from him. And I know his entire family was there to watch it, so that was extra special for him.
We're going to take a break, about halfway points. When we come back, plenty more sports to talk about, and we will also give you our filet or our beef of the day, brought to you by G. Burbick Farms. Be back in just a moment right here on the YSN Power Hour, brought to you by these great sponsors.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is a place to go.
It's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet. Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoop News all season long on 21 Sports.
And welcome back to the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yokley, Billy Mack, we got Ty Bartell, Quinn Pushkar, and Richie Giuliano with us. And guys, a conversation that Billy and I had in the airport, because it was on Running Point, was Ron seems to think that the 1960s baseball players are just better than today's baseball players. So my question to you is, do you believe in that? Do you feel like that, you know, the athletes of yesteryear are actually better than the athletes of today, and support your case in either scenario? So I know Billy's waiting to chomp at the bit for this one. So go ahead, Mr. Hot Tub, and give us your hot take.
Well, and he's talking about in general, right? Just athletes in general, correct?
He did, and then he changed
baseball,
he talked about baseball, but he changed his tone yesterday when Danny called.
LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Dirk Nowitzki that played in the 70s. Otherwise, they would have been G's. Okay, that's how that would have worked out. You put LeBron in the 70s, and he's going to score anytime he feels like it. You put a guy like Allen Iverson, into that. And basketball is a whole different thing. But with baseball, you look at guys like Mike Trout, who were 6'3", 6'4", 240, that are hitting for high averages and hitting for 40+ bombs a year, having 125 RBIs on a season. I mean, there's nothing that guy can't do. Okay, and he's over here talking about Ricky Henderson. Get out of here, Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson didn't have to see 96, 97 from the left side, from the right side, crazy, curveballs overhand, side sliders, and not even to mention the analytics part, where, with what we experienced this weekend is the scouting reports are so in depth, and it's at every level, but it's finally trickling down to collegiate and high school baseball and pro baseball, where they're getting video footage of every 2-strike pitch you've ever thrown. Okay, what's the tally of sliders to breaking balls to locations to how hard you're throwing to what's your setup? Are you setting up on an 0-2? Are you going after? What are you doing to a left-handed hitter? There's all kinds of statistics that the advantage has to the person who's more prepared for that game. It's intense. It's crazy. And just to sit here and say the athletes, no. I don't remember seeing you're talking about a guy like Frank Thomas, who looks like Mike Trout today. Okay, Frank Thomas was never the athlete that Mike Trout is. It's just ridiculous.
Well, he's on his own commercial now, so at least he's got that going for him. The big hunk. Let's go to Richie, your take on this, because you're a baseball guy. I mean, do you think that today's baseball players have lost a step, or you don't think they could compete with the baseball players of yesteryear?
I think they're better, to be honest. And going off Billy Mack's point, and what I was going to say is, as technology gets better, so does the game of baseball. I mean, you look at Trevor Bauer and that example, the momentum and everything he's done with technology and how he's improved his breaking ball, he's improved his velocity because of it. And like Billy Mack mentioned, I mean, they have so many different technological advantages now than they do back then. I mean, they know what you're going to throw, when you're going to throw. They know how fast, how hard. There's just so much that goes into it that they didn't have back in the day. And I think that also improves with the stat tracker, what they do now, and, exit velo, which helps players kind of determine where they want to swing and how they want to get it out of the yard. So I think, honestly, baseball nowadays is harder to compete than it was whenever he said 1960 or 70.
What about the other sports? What about football and basketball and things of that nature? Do you think that the game it's obviously changed, but do you think that the players in this era could hang in the 1960s, 1970s?
Yeah, I think everything's just getting faster, honestly. I think people in general with the dietitians now, what they're eating is insane. I watched a documentary on the New England Patriots and what they eat in a single day. It's insane how these guys are able to eat. They move faster. They hit harder. I think nowadays with the dietitians, with, overall your physical therapy that you have, as well as technology in the back pocket, I think that people are getting better and just physically faster and stronger. So I think the game's improving.
Like, you literally had guys smoking in the dugout in the 60s.
Yeah.
Literally. So you can't tell me that the 60s athletes are better than today. No. He's living in this nostalgia world where, I watched the 60s and I got to watch Johnny Bench. And Great. That's awesome. You got to watch those guys. I get to watch Ken Griffey Jr. and Mike Trout and Bryce Harper.
It's funny to think about people saying that Ken Griffey Jr. or Bryce Harper or Mike Trout couldn't compete in the 1960s. I think they'd have 100 home runs.
Yeah.
They'd have. It would be unbelievable. Ty, your thoughts on this topic? I think, being the historian that you are, I bet there's something you can bring to the table that kind of makes us go, huh? So here's a shot.
Well, not to beat around the bush too much, I think both Billy Mack and Richie did cover it very well. But I think it kind of goes back to that point and just exercise science and what we know as far as what parts of the body function for each individual task in baseball or any given sport. I mean, talk about 10, 15, 20 years ago even, we didn't know what the hell an oblique was, and now there's all sorts of things of oblique injuries and ways to improve the strength of an oblique, to have more elasticity in your swing and being able to get more extension on that kind of stuff without injuring it, and ways to strengthen that so it doesn't get pulls and tears and everything like that. I mean, the science behind the workouts and the science behind eating and just how to take care of yourself, how to keep in shape has just been, it's astounding how far it's come since the 1960s and how it's just going to continue to improve as we keep going further and further into the game. And I mean, even when you look at sports such as basketball and football, I know everyone likes to try to say and, harp on those kind of guys. And, as football, especially, you talk about guys that hit harder, guys today wouldn't survive in that game. I mean, if it was the same type of game, if the rules weren't in place that are on these guys, you would feel a guy like an Aaron Donald hitting you much harder if there was no chains on him. You got to realize the modern day game, there's so many chains on these guys. So guys like, your Watts and your Miller, your Von Millers, guys, they could hit you a lot harder than they actually do. They just can't right now because of the rules that prohibit them. So I don't believe that 60s anything is better than athlete wise, at the very least athlete wise, that it is today right now.
Quinn, you've always talked about the difference in the NBA between now and the days of Jordan and Magic. What do you think what would happen if you put those two athletes against each other? Who would win?
Oh, I mean, it would 100%. You put Michael Jordan in that time period, I mean, Jordan averages 90. Like, it wouldn't even be close. And I mean, you just look at it, like, the only guy out of the 60s and 70s that was overpowering, honestly, was probably Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, just like Billy, Ty, Richie, like they all said, just athletes in general have just gotten better. Like, it's the way it transitions. It's just gotten better. We know more. It's just better. Everything now is better. I mean, Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, whoever. I mean, it would be astronomical how much they would put up in a game like that compared to those guys. I mean, in the NBA back then, I mean, those guys had second jobs, and then they played in the NBA.
When you look at, too, like some of the greats in sports history, almost all the time, it's because they're the best athlete in the sport at that time. When you look at guys like Michael Jordan, he was the best athlete in the sport of basketball in the time period he played. Same thing I could say as far as how quarterbacks train with the way Tom Brady takes care of his body and everything right now and how he's been able to have that longevity. It's the way he trains and just how much goes into the athlete part of a sport, I think, is where you start to really see the great ones come out, is the ones that go extra steps beyond that and they kind of know something we don't.
Chris Sigler got a different take on it. Nothing about today's NBA is better. Quinn?
Players
the
are
athletes
better.
are better.
The players are better. Whether you like it or not, the players are better. They're just better.
John Stockton could not guard Morant right now. Could not.
Take it easy on my guy, Johnny Stockton.
He
But in
could
fairness,
not
Morant
guard
the pick and roll,
he would
so.
not even play in today's league. He would be a bench player at best in the NBA today.
That's stupid. You're wrong.
Carrie says, my favorite part of today's show is the fact that Billy has better reception from a hot tub in the woods than Munson does from our living room.
I was nervous, too, because I'm like, I got to be outside because I'm inside. I'm going to be shaky. So, and then it was raining out here, so.
Have you seen the Yeti yet?
We're not going to talk about that.
Okay, I'm just saying. Like I have to believe that Bigfoot's out there. Mark Ross saying, how many high school kids were throwing high 80s to 90s in 1960 compared to today? Apples to oranges comparison for those decades. But here's the thing, Mark. I mean, you know as well as everybody else that's what sports is. It's comparison. It's MJ versus LBJ. It's Brady versus Montana.
It's
everybody
compare that though. Like comparing 60s to now is tough because I mean you can compare 60s to 60s and it's very similar to what the NBA is today.
Well, you know as well as I do, Quinn, that every time that we talk sports with an quote unquote old timer, right? Let's just throw him out there. Ron loves his old time sports, but he always leans on, well, you know, there's more pure baseball players that, you know, in 1960s than there is today. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a minute. There's better baseball players today that know the game better, higher baseball IQ, better athletes. And he was with Anthony earlier this week, and he said that, okay, you do the shift, and then a good batter just drops a bunt down the third base line and walks to first base. Like, the pitcher doesn't know that there's a shift behind him, and they're just going to throw him on the inside.
I think I've ever seen.
They're going to throw him 83 on the outside edge so you can go the other way with it. No, you're designed to hammer him inside because of the scouting report says, hey, he's either going to roll over on it, and he's a dead pull hitter. So
does that mean
as long as you keep the ball down, he's not going to take the ball out of the yard.
Say it again, Quinn.
Does that mean Barry Bonds is supposed to bunt up the third baseline instead of jacking one 700 feet over the wall?
Well, let me ask you this. What's the difference between a sacrifice bunt or a bunt down the third baseline on a shift or a 4-pitch walk?
There isn't one.
There is none. You save an out, right? So
your average goes up. That's about it.
Your average doesn't go up because
either
either
a bunt
way.
for a hit compared to a walk, wouldn't it go up?
A sacrifice bunt?
Oh, I didn't hear that part. I just heard bunt.
Yeah, I mean, if you bunt for a hit, yeah, obviously your average is going to go up. But if it's just a walk, it's not even at bat.
But again, go tell Bryce Harper
Oh.
to lay a bunt down. Go ahead.
Did Barry Bonds ever drop a bunt down in any?
I'm sure he did when he was like Richie's size.
Yeah, when he was playing with Pittsburgh at like 170, I'm sure he laid a bunt or two down.
Wasn't he a 40-40 guy? Or 30-30? I think it was 30-30.
He might have been. Yeah, no, he was definitely still good in Pittsburgh, but he was
really good in Pittsburgh. He was the 30 guy in Pittsburgh.
I know he's 30. I can't remember if he was 40-40, so I apologize for that. He is one of my favorite baseball players of all time. I mean, he was the guy that it's gonna sound funny. He changed the game for everybody else because he walked at one point more than anybody ever has, I believe.
On base percentage of I think 53 or 0.53 got on base more than he got out in a single season, and that's
what it was.
That's absolutely unreal. And also to comment on the points of the 60s and 70s guys, I think Nolan Ryan, I can't remember the exact year. I want to say it was 78. Maybe it might have been later on in his career, actually. It might have been in the 80s, actually. But when he hit 100 miles an hour with a pitch, that was like huge news. And now we got guys like Aroldis Chapman, guys like Justin Verlander that could consistently throw 100 almost every single pitch. It is a different game, and you got to look at greatness within the league that each of these players played in when you're comparing the 60s to now, because I don't think it is any question athletic-wise and, athletically, guys of today in any sport are going to be better than the guys of the 60s and 70s just because we know.
I just want to point out Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young, just for the record.
Correct.
So, some people play for the awards and some people play for the legacy. That's what I always say.
I won as many Cy Youngs as Nolan Ryan.
That's right.
Yep.
I feel special. There's hope for me now in baseball.
Okay, Quinn. I think we've taken this way too far. Hot. Chris Sigler with a great point. Billy, you and I talked about this privately. Just look at how many shortstop, second basemen are now power hitters. Never happened 30 years ago. Listen, every single lineup, 1 through 9, can take you yard. For the exception if you're in the National League and if there's a pitcher, right? But if you're looking at a DH lineup, 1 through 9, they can take you yard. Anytime. That's why, there's pundits out there that say that first base is now scoring position, right? Because you double in the gap, and a lot of these guys can go from first to home, no problem. The arms are better in the outfield. The gloves are better everywhere around. Like we've already talked about the analytics, knowing where you're going to hit the ball. What Danny broke down for us, Coach Bertolini, I'm sorry, on what was that, Saturday night, was incredible. Incredible, the analytics that go into baseball now, even at the college level. And Troy had just report after report after report on our pitchers that they went over to 40 minutes prior to the game and discussed where it's going to be on a 2-strike count, where the arm trajectory is, what the out pitch is, everything that you could imagine they went over. So Billy and I, at one point during the game, we're thinking, we got these guys down 0-2, probably 50% of the time, and they're just drilling BBs into the outfield like they knew it was coming, because they did. So the analytics of baseball, the analytics of everything. I mean, you look at Tom Brady, he's no longer just standing on the sidelines with his hands on his hips. What is he always doing? He's always looking at video. You know, where are they? What tendencies are they doing? What do they have any tells? All that stuff. They didn't have that in the 60s, and that's the complaint. Well, if we had all this in the 60s, but you didn't. Okay, we get it. But don't tell me that the 60s players could cut it in today's world. Like Ricky Henderson would be a non-factor. Because why? The stolen bases are significantly down because you don't have to risk your runner going to second base. The catchers are better. I don't care if he says that, you know, they're not. They are. Statistically, the catchers are better. He says Johnny Bench. We say who? Yadier Molina.
That's it.
You know, Pudge Rodriguez. Like, the catchers are defensively better, and they're trained to not let you steal.
And they're way better athletes behind the dish too.
Yeah, they're not the DJ Yoakleys of the world that, you know, go eat chocolate candy after the game.
Too. Like, the game has definitely changed. I mean, even out in the 90s when, you know, Billy Beane started doing his thing with Oakland, he changed the game even more so. Basically breaking it down to, we're not wasting outs. We're not sacrifice bunting. The small ball idea is out. We're not stealing bases. We're not doing that. We're not risking versus outs. And that was something that was coming in huge too. So, but the game's changed so much even beyond that is, you know, you talked about those leadoff hitters. Those leadoff hitters can hit bombs. I mean, you look like Francisco for years was a leadoff guy, and then they want him to hit gas. You know, and he's trying to catch a payday as well, and he did well. So, game's changed. It's no longer like set the table, clean the table up. It's no longer 1-2, get on, and then let your big boys kind of hit behind and do that. It's not the case. There's numbers in the Pro Bowl where the number 2 hitter gets 90 more at bats in a year compared to the number 1 hitter, and so you want your best hitter at number 2 now, and that was something that the Yankees did years ago when Cano was there.
And Derek Jeter, number 2, Jeter. That's going to put a wrap in a bow. The only other thing I want to bring up is, we talk about science nowadays because of Corona, because all this stuff, believe in the science. Think about Tommy John, you know, and the pitchers that had Tommy John at one point, you know, 20 years ago that were not making it back. Tommy John is just an absolute easy in and out surgery now. And I say that respectively to the athletes that have to go through it. But you say Tommy John now and it's, oh, okay, well, he'll be back and he'll probably be throwing harder, as opposed to
Similar
Tommy
to
John
ACL in football.
Yeah, Tommy. It used to be a swear word to athletes where you go, okay, I'm having Tommy John. Oh my gosh, you get a hug. I'm so sorry. You know, your career's over. And now you go, Tommy John, and you go, okay, what were you hitting before? 86? You'll probably be at 93. You know, one of those things. Right. So, Ty?
And just like, and I mean, Billy was probably going to say it too, but the ACL in football, we're not that many years removed, or away, I should say, from you could come back probably in the same season from an ACL injury. If you injure it in the first couple of weeks, you might be back by the tail end of the season.
Yeah, AP. Who was the Giants? Barkley.
Saquon, yeah.
Barkley, yeah. And they said if the Giants, and don't laugh at this, if the Giants were to make the playoffs, he could have come back. So
that's insane, rehabbing wise.
We had it in high school too. Justin Sweeney did it. He came back in 3-4 months. Like, it was nothing. It was unbelievable.
It's come a long, long way.
Science is in the back pocket of sports. There's no doubt about it. But you know, you need sports science. So That's going to put a wrap on the regular part of the show. We are on to the G. Burbick Farms What's Your Beef, brought to you by our friends over at G. Burbick Farms. Greg Burbick taking care of everybody. His farm, your freezer. All you got to do, go to gburbickfarms.com and get some meat on your table tonight. All right, let's go to Richie. What is your beef or what is your filet, my sir?
I think the filet's got to be the trip tomorrow. I mean, we get a chance, great opportunity to go down, see some of the best ballparks in all the country and LSU, as well as Nicholls State, who just renovated their entire field as well as their press box. So I think it's just the opportunity tomorrow that Youngstown State baseball has, and maybe they could pull out a couple wins.
Richie, you want the since we got 2 on Friday, do you want the first game or the second game for play-by-play? No. You want to go rocks, paper, scissors?
It's up to you. We'll figure it out.
Let's go rocks, paper, scissors live. Let's do it. Ready? Rocks, paper, scissors, shoot. Ready? Rocks, paper, scissors, shoot. What do you got?
Tie.
Right.
We're tied.
All right, here we go.
I got to keep it up.
Paper, scissors, shoot. Damn it. All right, what do you got? You got play-by-play. You got
I think
Nicholls.
Ricky was on a delay. He got to see what you threw out first.
Damn Canfield cheaters. All right, Richie's he can take his pick between Nicholls and LSU. Which one do you want?
I think I'll take so I don't care. We'll figure it out.
LSU, we got a couple hours to figure it out. All right.
Because either way we'll split because they play both twice.
Right.
So,
we'll just go 1-1, 1-1.
Yeah.
All right, deal. It's such a good person. Billy Mack would never do that. He would take all 4 if we were doing rock paper scissors.
I would make him do play-by-play the whole time.
Well, I like doing play-by-play.
He's thinking about one-liners like smoking in the dugout.
Oh, you're like, hey.
Jeff Whaler's smoking in the dugout. What? I didn't mean to say that. He's smiling and joking in the dugout is what I meant to say. All right, Quinn, what do you got?
I don't really got much today. Just a little filet, I guess. I give a shout out to Eric. I haven't gotten to talk to him lately, but I know he plays tonight. He plays Kenston, I believe, at home for Salem. And good luck, buddy. Hope you move on to the district championship game. Excited for you.
Awesome. We'll get to the rundown. Thanks for the reminder right before we get off the air. Ty, what do you have?
For me, I mean, how can it not be a filet? Got another good game matchup tonight. Girls basketball. We got Western Reserve versus Maplewood. Friday coming up, we're going to have a Waterloo game. Got to see who they're facing. I believe that was the winner of, I think it was Jefferson, and I can't remember the other team, but that's going to be a good matchup coming up Friday. And, I mean, just more high school basketball coming in. We're getting into the thick of it. A lot better games, a lot better competition. So, tune into the network for sure.
Sebastian.
All right, so I'm going to do a beef because all you guys are kissing ass and doing fillets. There's a charcoal grill over here, okay? And last night I had the task to make hot dogs. Not responsibility, but I couldn't get the charcoal to work, and it was it's been raining here, and there's barely any lighter fluid at all. The lighters in here don't work at all. And luckily, I brought some for some cigars, so I'm playing around with this. I finally get something to light here. I come back in, and I grab the lid to the charcoal grill. And I have about no fingerprints on my finger and thumb right now. So every swear word came out of my mouth over here. And I'm sure all the Amish around here heard me. And they were probably, going crazy. But on the flip side, there's a propane fireplace here. So I was able to take the grate out of here, put the hot dogs on the propane little fireplace thing.
So good news, bad news thing.
Nicely.
I was going to say, good news, bad news thing. You got burnt. That's the bad news. The good news is when you kill Sasquatch, they won't be able to ID you because you don't have any fingerprints.
You see why I said I don't want to talk about it?
There it is, man. There it is. The legend. Mine is going to be a filet as well. We have an intern here that we've introduced on this show, Alyssa Pletcher, who does a great job for us, never says no, always willing to do whatever it takes. And today she's busting out 10 new ideas for content for us in the next month or two here on YSN, because it will slow down a little bit after basketball, and then it'll speed right back up whenever the weather breaks for baseball. But she's over there cranking. I don't know if you can see her or not. She's out there cranking ideas for YSN. She is a legend just like her papa, the sheriff, Dawn Pletcher. So we're excited to have her, as part of our team. She doesn't get near enough credit for popping in here once or twice a week. So Alyssa, thank you very much. I know Papa's out there watching. I know he's proud as well. So that's going to do it for our show, except for the rundown. Here, let me get you a rundown here real quick. All right, for Wednesday, February 24th, we mentioned that the Fitch at Ashtabula Lakeside game, the link is in the comments, so check that out. Beaver Local at New Philadelphia, McNuggies is going to have that for us. East Liverpool game against Duncan Falls is going to be on the network. It's also going to be broadcast on PNN. Thanks again to them for their help. Jason Croxel leading that crew. I will be at Salem with EB. EB will be on the bench. He won't be with me, but we will be doing the Kenston at Salem game. Good luck, Mr. Bailey, and of course Sarah Hamilton, one of our favorite coaches here on YSN. West Geauga at Poland. Ant will have that game. That's a tip-off at 7. Also at 7, East Palestine at South Range. Richie, you got one hell of a game. I know the Lady Dogs are all fired up and ready for the upset of the century if they can put it past South Range, but I don't know if you've heard this. South Range is pretty good. So
yeah, I've heard.
It certainly will be the upset at Century, but the Dogs are believing, man. So see what they got up their sleeve. Crestview at Brookfield. Matt and Eric will have the call. We will have Springfield at McDonald. Also, Maplewood at Western Reserve. Ty, you got that one. And that is going to put a wrap on our coverage tonight. $9.99 gets you all the coverage you want right here on the network tonight. You can flip from game to game to game to game to game, hear all the voices, see all the faces on YSN, and help us defer the cost of $125 per game. We thank you all for tuning in, not only to YSN during the evening, but right here during the YSN Power. For all of these gentlemen and the hot tub, we say thank you. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on the YSN Power Hours. Richie and I will be from down south, so we'll see you then. Take care.